right center field. That's got carry. It's gone. Number 500 and history for Miguel Cabrera.
Bottom line is, man, it's hard to break us now. It's hard to break us. As a matter of fact, you ain't going to do it.
Open look, Torres, he hits it. What a play called by Tom Izzo in that timeout.
I was 7 years old watching a football game by myself, and I saw those winged helmets come out of the tunnel, and I was hooked at that point.
Kane in Chicago! Oh my God! Kane with the overtime winner!
Jahmyr Gibbs to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. You can't cover that man one-on-one. You just can't do it.
He drives, lobs to JD for a jam.
You play real good, you start. You don't play as good, you work your way back in. It's the American way, except America has gotten soft. But that is the American way. That's the way it works.
This is the 6'6" Kane Cunningham. Jameson Williams, he's got it. Touchdown, Lions.
Well, that was entertaining, wasn't it? I mean, did you enjoy it? Or maybe it's not your cup of tea in a 4-0 final. Welcome, everybody, on a Wednesday morning. Glad you're with us on X's and Bros throughout the great state of Michigan. I'm Matt Shepard. Andy McDonald is alongside. We are brought to you this hour by our friends at Mitch Lyons Wealth, as always. American League wins it 4-0. Very cool atmosphere. I don't know how much you
I don't think you can deny that. That's for sure. It was.
What was the coolest part?
I mean, that whole thing they did with all the fireworks and the sparklers. I forget what inning that was in. That was
in the seventh.
That was pretty
right?
sweet.
The seventh inning stretch. I thought the starters coming out and signing.
Oh yeah,
with a quill. It was supposed to be a pen, but obviously it's a marker. Their name, like it's the Declaration of Independence, I thought was extremely unique and appropriate and dead on. I mean, you're talking about the 250th anniversary of our land. 50th. It's been 50 years since Philly hosted an event like this. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was awesome. That place was packed too, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think the whole rendition of Ray Charles singing America the Beautiful was fantastic. The kids coming out on their bikes choked me up a little bit because it's the way it used to be. God, I wish it could get back to that. You don't see it any longer. It's really too bad. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday at a community center, and they said, you don't see kids out any longer. It's hard to get them outside.
My parents couldn't keep me inside. Riding my bike was my life back in the day. That's what I did for fun.
Yeah, but now you sound like old guy is
right.
What happens.
Exactly.
The kids with the gloves on the handlebars is exactly what it used to look like in this country. And I'm not saying there shouldn't be progress. There should be, okay? There should be progress. There are just some wholesome things in life that I miss. That's all.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I agree with that.
Kids riding in packs on bikes to a baseball field is one of those things. And last night, Philadelphia did a really good job, of bringing that back. Now, was the game great? No. Is the game the way, like if Rob Manfred's sitting there watching, and obviously he was, he should recognize that this is what you and I see all the time. A ton of strikeouts. Not just by the Tigers, I might add, that we'll get to here in a moment. But it's a ton of strikeouts. Doesn't make for a great game.
No, I can agree with that.
And I thought that last night while I'm watching it. And then, as I oftentimes do, like to try and contradict myself. Why is it we like power in the batter's box, but not power on the mound? If you and I agree that today's baseball is all or nothing from an offensive standpoint, we forget the pitching aspect. You're tired of today's baseball because there's too many strikeouts and everybody's going for home runs, right? Fair enough. You love Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani and Kyle Schwarber and all these guys hitting home runs. Jordan Walker in the home run derby. That's power, right? Chicks, quote unquote, dig the long ball. Why not power as far as strikeouts are concerned? Well, why am I Why am I shaking my head? Saying, yes, Miguel Vargas had the only extra base hit. And yet I don't appreciate Dylan Cease striking out 3 in the first. And American League relievers following and striking out 15 in the game. I look at it as a negative from an offensive standpoint. Why am I not looking at it from a positive of a pitching standpoint? It's just something I was contemplating last night and fighting with myself constantly. I'm probably arguing with somebody else if somebody else would watch the game with me, but I watched it by myself. Bottom line is it's a 4-0 final, and the American League scored 3 in the first, highlighted by MVP Cody Bellinger's 2-run single.
You kind of thought, I felt like the game was going to go a different direction with the way that it started, but yeah.
I know. And especially have Christopher Sanchez, who's really good.
All I could think about was like if you're a Phillies fan, you had last night end disappointingly with your guy losing the home run derby in that crazy way, and then you watch the National League get shut out through a night. Yeah. That's tough, man.
And your guy Bryce Harper struggling.
Yeah.
Kyle Schwarber didn't get a hit. So, yeah, you're probably thinking to yourself, what the hell's going on here? Oh, and on top of that, one of our best pitchers was dissed because he wasn't selected. But pitching dominated. 10 different American League pitchers recorded a strikeout. That ties the All-Star game record for most pitchers on one team with a strikeout. Unfortunately, Riley Green went 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, and people lit him up on social media.
Immediately. It was everywhere. Yeah.
Kevin McGonigal went 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Anybody lighting him up? Dylan Dingler went 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Anybody lighting him up? No. It's unfortunate. By the way, Bellinger with the All-Star Game MVP. And before you go, well, he didn't strike out 201 times. Well, the other 2 guys weren't All-Stars before this year. But you're not going to give them any credit. Anyway, how many Yankees have been named All-Star Game MVP? In all the years they've held it, 96 times. How many Yankees have been named MVP? Any idea?
8. It's a random
4.
Okay.
And Bellinger's the 4th.
Wow.
Giancarlo Stanton. I thought so too. Giancarlo Stanton in 2022. Mariano Rivera in 2013. Derek Jeter was the first in 2000. That's a little surprising to me.
I want to know what Mariano Rivera did. Did he like strike out the side to close out a close game or something?
He's Mariano Rivera.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's not that I don't like him, because I do. It's not that I don't respect him. It's immensely. I will never get over that he's the first unanimous Hall of Famer. I just won't. It blows my mind. It blows my mind that, well, maybe I shouldn't. It shouldn't blow my mind in today's day and age. It blows my mind that of all the great players, and there are hundreds of them, right? All of them, none of them were unanimous Hall of Famers until Mariano Rivera, who's, again, who deserves to be there. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong. He's the greatest closer of all time. But before him, think of all the great players. And I've gone on this rant plenty. People who listen to the show are probably shaking their head. I'm not suggesting it was, it should be Dave Parker. I'm not suggesting it should be Dick Allen or anything like that. But I want you to think about that for a minute. He goes in as the first unanimous Hall of Famer. Like, it wasn't his teammate Derek Jeter. It wasn't Ted Williams. It wasn't Hank Aaron. It wasn't Ken Griffey Jr. or Randy Johnson. And these are just a couple of them are just recent guys. Was it Ricky Henderson? Right? It wasn't Ty Cobb. It wasn't Babe Ruth. It wasn't Lou Gehrig. It wasn't Mickey Mantle. It's asinine. And it shows you what the baseball voting is really all about. Anyway, we move on. J.D. Bickerstaff, honored. He's been named one of 3 assistant coaches for Team USA. Eric Spoelstra's the head coach. Team USA will compete in the World Qualifying Tournament next month, trying to advance to the World Cup in Qatar in 2027. Soccer story from yesterday that we'll get to. We got the of course, daily wager coming up a little bit later on. We've got the poll question, the Mitch Lions Wealth poll question. When we come back, more unfortunate All-Star history for the Tigers. We'll explain on the other side here on X's and Bros on a Wednesday morning, brought to you by Mitch Lions Wealth.
Huge here for all the ABC warehouse locations in Michigan. Now, if you're looking for the best prices on TVs, furniture, appliances, mattresses, and more, you need to go to abcwarehouse.com. You can shop there and also shop in person at all ABC warehouse locations across Michigan. For the one close to you, go to abcwarehouse.com. Best deals on TVs, appliances, furniture, and mattresses at all ABC warehouse locations in Michigan.
Rod Stewart returns to Soaring Eagle Thursday, September 3rd. The Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series with special guest Richard Marx. Tickets start at $71 and are on sale now at the box office and etix.com. One last time, Rod Stewart with Richard Marx, September 3rd, SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Get a jump on back-to-school shopping with hot deals on Meijer brand must-haves. Stock up on school supplies for $1 or less, including Meijer 70-sheet notebooks, glue sticks, 2-pocket folders, and 10-count washable markers. Plus, save on breakfast favorites like select varieties of Meijer toaster pastries, pancake mix, syrup, and instant oatmeal, all just $1.79 each. Good life quality and real low prices. Only at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See the Meijer app for details.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The Huge Show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Okay, back with you here on X's and Bros on a Wednesday morning. What's up? How you doing? We're getting to why Jack Campbell is. I think the word disrespected is way too. It's overused, but in this case, maybe he's overlooked. How's that? So we'll dive into that coming up. In case you missed it yesterday, Spain beat France to advance to the World Cup Finals. 2-0 was the final. They reached the World Cup Finals for the first time since 2010 when they won it all last. And who they play next will be either England or Argentina in a 3:00 start this afternoon.
Yeah, I know.
Seems weird, doesn't it? That it's an afternoon first kick or whatever you want to call
yesterday
it.
Too. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's a little confusing to me as well. Anyway, there you go. Here's our Mitchell Lanswealth poll question. Which All-Star game is the best? MLB, that's the correct answer. NHL, NBA, or other. I didn't put the NFL on there. It's not an all-star game. It's a joke.
I looked at that this morning. It was like, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's a joke.
I mean, the Pro Bowl. Yeah, if you voted Pro Bowl, I'd love to. If you're gonna go on there and vote other too, please leave a comment of what the other would be. I would love to hear what it is.
Yeah, what could it be?
That's what I'd want to know at that point.
Have you seen? You don't watch it, and I don't expect you to. I don't expect really many people to. I do because my kids play it. Have you seen a lacrosse all-star game?
I have not.
It's pretty cool. I mean, they
just because they actually try, or
they absolutely try.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what John Smoltz said it best during the broadcast last night. He says, we have the best all-star game in sports. He's right. You're not giving up home runs. You're not letting a ball go through your legs. So another guy can get a hit or another guy can get on base or you can create some drama. You're not doing any of that. It happens in hockey. It happens in basketball. And I don't think people like it. What is sports? In general, what is sports? It's competition. When you watch the NFL, the NHL, and the NBA All-Star Game, and again, forget the NFL. It's a farce. There's one thing the NFL does not do well, and it's the Pro Bowl. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
You think about it. They
100%.
stay in our sports consciousness every single day. Well, at least every week of the year, even though they don't play. They're not playing right now.
Yeah.
You and I are into football. Yeah, we talk about it. So there's really only one thing that they do wrong, I think. Now, am I a fan of Roger Goodell? No. I've given you various reasons over the years. Do I love their draft? It's hard not to. I think it's a phony. I think it's fake. It might as well be Love Island as far as I'm concerned. Only because Roger Goodell stands on a podium, holds on a jersey with that player, and then gives them a massive hug. When deep down inside, he wants to screw them over. I can't wait for you to play 18 games. I can't wait till you're hurt. I can't wait till your career is shortened by injury and we're going to forget about you. All those things. It just, to me, it's disingenuous. However, the NFL is king because of not just the sport itself, but because of the way it's marketed. I mean, is it hypocritical? You're damn right it's hypocritical. Don't bet, but God, we're going to make millions and millions of dollars off betting sites.
Right.
All these things, right? Of course, every sport does that, but the NFL is really in charge because of, fantasy football. Fantasy football is a big reason why the NFL is so popular, and that's why
that's
it'll
100%
never.
it.
Yeah, and that's why it'll never stop.
I think I said it like last week or something. For me, I always college football was always my favorite, but once I started doing fantasy football when I was younger, that's honestly what got me into the NFL more. Just because you learn so much about every player from trying to follow them.
Right. I mean, think about it, Andy. When did they start putting the scroll on the bottom of players' points? That's how big fantasy. Nobody else does that.
Yeah, that's true.
Hockey doesn't do that. NBA doesn't do that. Baseball doesn't do that. And they all have fantasy.
Yeah, I play all of them. So that's why it's crazy that football is just the one. Because I think the other part of it too is they're all most of the games. Obviously, they move some to Thursday, Monday, maybe even
once a week.
Yeah.
Easier to follow.
Yeah, it's like every Sunday. Yeah, it makes it way easier.
It's built for it, don't you think? Football is built for the fantasy. You have a busy week. You're doing this. You're getting ready for Channel 8 responsibilities. You've got a podcast. You're doing a lot of different things. I don't know how you have time to do all your fantasy sports. But in football, it's, you know what? As long as I got my lineup in by Thursday, I'm good.
Yeah, and it's like, Sunday is like the most common day for people to, be, vegging or whatever. And that's like the day you'd feel like that it's perfect for it, and it is. So,
So I don't know how we got on that, but either way, you can vote as often as you want on the Mitch Lanswell whole poll question. Which All-Star game is the best?
The Pro Bowl sucks, so I can just be straight about that.
It's like I said, it's the one thing I think the NFL doesn't do very well. So we talked about our favorite moment, probably our most disappointing moment. I don't know how you feel when a Tiger stands in as an All-Star. Super excited, right? And Lou Whitaker goes yard, and you're like, yeah, man, way to go. All right. The Tigers have not put on the best All-Star face in recent memory. Who's the last Tiger to get a hit as an All-Star?
Oh gosh, what a question! I have not. I'm sure I haven't seen it yet. Because last year, did anybody get a hit for him last year? I don't think so.
Did not.
No.
Nope. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad.
Miguel Cabrera.
It's 2017 Justin Upton.
Justin Upton. Okay.
He got a hit off Wade Davis, who was pitching for the. I started to think. I immediately thought Wade Davis was a Kansas City Royal, but it couldn't have been because Justin Upton was an American leaguer. Either way, we have seen since the Justin Upton single off Wade Davis in 2017, and we've had plenty of opportunities. Okay, plenty of opportunities. And they just haven't come through.
Wade Davis did pitch for the Royals, at one point.
But he pitched. He was pitching for the Cubs at the time. All right. Miguel Cabrera 0 for 1. Javier Baez 0 for 2. Gleyber Torres 0 for 2. Obviously, those guys both last year. Zach McKinstry, obviously last year 0 for 1. Riley Green 0 for 7 after going 0 for 2 with 2 punch-outs last night. Dylan Dingler 0 for 1, Kevin McConnell 0 for 2. In other words, Detroit, since the Justin Upton 2017 single off Wade Davis, Detroit is 0 for 16.
Yeah, and it was tough last night because I feel like the 3 guys that made it, and it doesn't change my opinion if they're All-Stars or not. I believe they're All-Stars.
Yeah,
I was so excited to see them because I'm like, these guys really got picked to be in this game. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
they're fully deserving.
100%.
Dylan Dingler is the best catcher in baseball, right? Kevin McGonigal's the best rookie in baseball. Riley Green's top 3 player in left field in baseball. You feel like they are deserving. Be honest with yourself. Did you think Javier Baez was an All-Star last year?
No, I didn't. Did you think Zach McKinstry was an All-Star? No. Okay. I mean, it's they have the utility position, correct, as like an All-Star selection. I mean, that's the reason why. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, there are, with all due respect to those guys, I have mad respect for what they've been able to do.
The Tigers told us though that McKinstry was an All-Star. So
yeah, but it's kind of like, I mean, this year, Travis Bazzana,
right?
He's batting 238, Andy, and he's an All-Star. Okay. Anyway, I hope it doesn't change how you feel about a player just because they may struggle in the All-Star game. Kyle Schwarber went 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Okay. C.J. Abrams was the starting shortstop from the Washington Nationals. He went 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Do you think people in Washington are going, oh, my God? I mean, Brandon Marsh, he was the starting right fielder, 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. It happens, right? The disappointing thing for me was online and how people were just all over Riley Green.
Yeah, it was awful.
The All-Star performance. We'll dive into that a little bit as well. We'll also talk about the Jack Campbell ranking of offset linebacker, off-ball linebacker. We'll get to that coming up here on X's and Bros. Thanks for being with us on a Wednesday morning. Join us in the chat as we stream live on YouTube, X, and on Facebook here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for the Carmody brothers and all the Buffalo Wild Wings across Michigan. You can watch the end of the World Cup at all Buffalo Wild Wings in Michigan. Yes, the U.S. has been bounced, but the best teams in the world remain. And you can watch all the games on all the TVs at all Buffalo Wild Wings locations in Michigan. Every single World Cup game that's left, you can watch it at your local Buffalo Wild Wings.
The big shows are at Soaring Eagle. Eric Church.
All you gotta do is put a drink in my hand.
Friday, August 14th with special guest Ashley McBride. The Free the Machine Tour, part of the Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series. Tickets start at $87 and are on sale now at the box office and etix.com.
Drink a little drink, smoke a little smoke.
The party starts with Eric Church plus Ashley McBride, August 14th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Farrah's Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The huge show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
So the introduction of analytics and everybody being able to understand what their pitches are doing, the way that guys are pitch manufacturing now is really interesting, where in the past it was let the hitter tell you. You know, you get some advice from a pitching coach, you're trying a new pitch, and you let the hitter tell you if it's good or bad. Now it's kind of the opposite. You know, it's like, and analysts will also do this. It's like if you're throwing it a certain velo with a certain type of break, it will be successful. And they tell you that regardless of what the hitters are telling you. So, you know, you might watch a guy go out there and not be pitching well, and this particular pitch is getting hit all over the yard, and it's being somewhat consistent over a few starts, but the analyst will continue to tell you that it's a good pitch because analytically it is. But for some reason it's not. That's a dramatic difference in the game. And I think generally where pitchers aren't having the hitters tell them what's good and not, they're having analysts tell them what's good.
That's a really great soundbite from Justin Verlander. What do you
really
makes
you think, that's for sure, about it, because I never thought about how it would, like, I never thought about how the analyst could have such an effect on it, I guess.
Yeah, I think you did. I just don't think you've ever heard it put that way.
Yeah, so I'm saying, like, no one's ever really talked about it like that.
And the same with me. I take it. How do you view Verlander? First of all, I think Verlander was excellent in explaining it, excellent in keeping it kind of middle of the road. I think he despises it.
Oh yeah, for sure. You can't.
I think he absolutely hates it.
Can't stand the way
it is. You know what it is, Andy? This might be a little extreme. I don't think it's too dissimilar than what quarterbacks go through in the National Football League these days, where you have people telling them every single play they're going to run.
Right.
In the past, remember, I brought this up, I don't know if it was this week or last week, Terry Bradshaw called all his own plays. When he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he called all his own plays. Most quarterbacks want to do that. Now, do they have an option? Yes. 9 out of 10 times, they're in the huddle, they're calling 2 plays. They break, they get to the line of scrimmage, they survey the defense, they go to 1. But then they may reload. Jim Miller was telling me this last week when we were playing at Tullymore. They may reload. They may say, Aaron Rodgers, I think, did this. Yeah, and more teams are doing what Aaron Rodgers did. Jim Miller told the story of how one time it was one of these situations where instead of, that you call 2 plays, you go up to the line of scrimmage, you call the first play, you check into another play, and then instead of going through as the defense shifts, instead of going through it all over again, you just say reload. That's the first play you called. It's really simple. You don't have to go through a bunch of, because of the snap clock's going down, you don't have to worry about all the verbiage. You just go reload, and everybody knows, oh, instead of play 2, we go back to play 1. All right. Quarterbacks are able to get a couple of plays, break the huddle, go to the line of scrimmage, figure that out themselves. But it's those 2 plays from which they choose. Pitchers want to pitch their own. I mean, you were watching the game last night. How great was it that Dylan Cease is on the mound saying, what do we go with now here? And he and Shea Langoliers are both mic'd up. Oh my God. That's right. That's the best part of the broadcast. Smoltz and Mazeroski and Verlander and Schlittler talking was really fun, but it felt more like an interview. To just shut up and hear Dylan Cease go, let's go low sinker here. Let's go high fastball. Let's do the slider here with Shea Langoliers. Now, that's because they don't know one another, right? So they're going to give more of a say to the pitcher in that situation. Pitchers want to call their own games. And I don't know how many do, but a lot of this is based on analytics. Justin Verlander does not like that someone who's never done what he's done at the highest level and accomplished what he's accomplished is telling him what to do.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta understand that. I mean, he lived off getting the feel for the game instead of just getting it by that. That's
a good way to put it. It's a feel for the game. The sports that are least analytical, because you can't really be analytical in hockey and the NBA. It's not that they don't use it, but it's a flow thing, right? You can't call every single play in the NBA. All right. You get guys running up and down the floor. You're not telling somebody on a 3-on-2 fast break, all right, I want you to run X. You're not doing that. Same thing in hockey. There's too much of a flow. They have analytics, no question, where to shoot on a goalie. That's always been the case. There's been analytics, but it's less evasive.
Kenny Atkinson only lost those games analytically, or won those games analytically, though.
In Cleveland. Yeah. Okay. If you say so.
He said so.
He said so. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Because he was up 3-2. I remember that. All right. So we look at baseball, and we now can focus on the second half, Andy. The NBA or the MLB playoff odds, courtesy of Fangraphs. What do you think Detroit's odds are, and where do you think they rank in Major League Baseball? Of the 30 teams, where do you think they rank?
Well, I would guess they're actually, because I've seen all the stuff with their schedule being pretty easy here in the second half.
It's the second easiest.
Even though I don't like
Major
using that
League
word,
Baseball.
especially with the Tigers. But,
that's right. Do you know who has the easiest, though? This is what people overlook.
Oh, yeah, the Guardians. I did see that. Yep.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's tough. But I would guess the Tigers, just with the wild card and everything else, probably it's got to be top 10. I think I'm going to go 8.
Yeah, it's 9 in the American League.
Okay,
which is pretty damn good. 27.5%, better than Houston, better than Baltimore, better than Toronto, better than the Athletics, better than Kansas City and Los Angeles. I mean, the last 3 are basically out anyway.
how much do you think that percentage in 2 weeks? Obviously, the game's still have to play out for a couple weeks to the deadline. How much do you think the Tigers will actually use something like that? Would that be a big?
I've seen a lot of people there. I've seen a lot of people online be optimistic about the Tigers, and for good reason, because of what you just pointed out. The schedule seems to be easy. I would remind them that they've been really good against winning teams. They've struggled against losing teams. Okay. I'm not trying to put
it doesn't matter who they're playing, man. Everybody's going to give their effort, especially, later in the season, even if they are bad teams. A lot of these guys are trying to make the team next year or whatever it might be. So
right.
I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. They're still going to have to win games regardless.
100%. And nothing is guaranteed, as we know, because, you think that Tarek Skubal will start in every single game that he's going to start. Of course, he's going to win, right? We don't think that's the case. There was a time where the Boston Red Sox might have been the biggest mess in all of baseball. Honestly. Fire their manager, you got players pointing fingers. It looked like a disruptive force was forming at Fenway Park. Now, that same Boston team has won 9 in a row. They are back in the wild card hunt. They're not going to win the East. They're not even 500 yet, but they have a higher percentage than Detroit does. As I've said before, the Yankees are going to do something to bolster their lineup. The Rays are going to do something to bolster maybe their pitching staff. Boston will do something. Toronto will do something. Seattle will do something. Those teams within the next 16 days, because that's what you have until the trade deadline. Those 16 days, Detroit has to win that race. Can this team make the playoffs the way it is? They would have to win the division. I don't think they're going to make it as a wild card. And then you have to ask yourself, what does this team need to reach the postseason? The team with the fewest wins a year ago in the American League to make the playoffs was the Detroit Tigers at 87. They have 44 wins right now. Okay? So do you believe 87 is what you have to get? Is that a fair
87? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
87 wins.
I think if they got to 87 wins, they would get in. Yeah. With the way the American League is right now, for sure.
Okay. But is that the minimum you think they need?
I think I've seen like 83 floated around just based off where people's records are at this year. in the American League. But yeah,
can we say?
I like 87 though.
I do too. I think that would get you there.
I feel like you'd have to aim for that, like something. I wouldn't aim for 83. That's not a very common number. I feel like to make the playoffs. So.
But do you think, because of how bad it is this year, do you think you can do that?
It's hard. I feel like you get a couple of teams that are going to get hot and probably get closer to that 87 number.
Okay. So let's use the number 84. Okay. You said
Sounds
maybe
good.
83. If you're 2 games above 500, can you win this division at 84 wins? I think that would be pretty hard, but because the White Sox have 50 wins, so they would need 34, obviously. Detroit would need 40 wins. They would need to go 40 and 16 or 26. 40 and 26. Can they do that in the quote-unquote second half of the season? What has given you any indication that this team can play 14 games over 500 in the second half of this season, when, if you look at it right now with this team and what it's done
since June 1st, maybe? Or I don't.
Well, I suppose. I suppose since June 1st would be that's the convenient way to look at it.
Yeah, that's if you're going with the positive outlook, that's what you'd be looking at, because what else could you look at? They ended last season terribly, and then they had a 6-22 May early in this season. I think before that they were in April close to 500. So
yeah. So, but here's what I kind of look at. What have they done over the regular season at the end of from last year's All-Star game?
Well, after last year's All-Star game, they didn't play good at all. I mean,
no.
Yeah, I don't know what they're.
Is that not a? Let me ask you this: Is that not a really big sample size?
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
Completely fair to look at it that way.
Yeah. And again, I think if you do that, what I'm looking at is I'm being negative, and I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to be realistic here. That's the most important thing. If you take what's a smaller sample size from June 1st to now, or from last year's All-Star game until now, that also incorporates the June 1st. It's the obvious. It's the second option. And by looking at that, they have given me no indication that this team will go 40 and 26. Oh, and by the way, on top of that, most sane people think they're going to trade Tarek Skubal. You think a team that has that big of a sample size of inefficiency and trading their best pitcher, logically, is going to suddenly win 40 of their next 66 games. To me, that doesn't seem to make much sense. Do you follow? Am I wrong there?
No, I get it. Yeah. You can't, arguing with that is tough to do.
Yeah. Via text, Shep, yesterday the Phillies starter was struggling so bad until he faced Riley Green and he got out of the inning. Riley's both strikeouts were against 2 pitchers he just faced a few days ago. Well, yes, true.
These pitchers are also good, mind you.
Yeah. Christopher Sanchez is considered the best lefty in the National League. I don't think he's the best lefty in baseball, although I suppose you could make a case for it. He gave up. He struck out Mike Trout. So he was struggling because he gave up the Alvarez single. Caminero then grounds back to Sanchez. He walked Bobby Witt. Bellinger singles, Ben Rice singles. Bellinger's a lefty on lefty. Rice is a lefty on lefty. Alvarez singled, he's a lefty on lefty. And Riley Green, a lefty on lefty, struck out. Okay. Just because you faced Christopher Sanchez not long ago doesn't mean you've got the book on Christopher Sanchez, who has one of the wickedest changeups in all of baseball. So I guess I understand where you're coming from. Who else did Riley Green strike out against? Do you remember, Andy?
I'm trying to remember who the second pitcher was, but
for the National League, was it the second pitcher?
Yep, I might have been later than that. Even I gotta look really quick.
Eduardo Rodriguez, right?
Did he pitch more than one innings? I don't remember.
He pitched one inning, or was it?
Might have been the third pitcher.
It was. I think it was Riley O'Brien. I'll have to look that up. It might have been Riley O'Brien. He's the kid from St. Louis. So Riley Green got up in the bottom of the first, obviously, or top of the first, I should say. And did he get up in the top of the third or the top of the fourth? Top of the fourth. And he struck out. So I don't know.
Well, the fourth would have been
Jesus
Luzardo.
Yeah, Luzardo. Yep. Yeah, Luzardo. Look, whatever. I mean, I don't like the two strikeouts either because I'm rooting for every Tiger. I didn't like McGonigal strikeout. I didn't like Dingler strikeout. It's frustrating to me. It's not an indictment on who he is. I mean, he's 0 for 7 in his career in the All-Star game. You got to get there first. Who's got – let me ask you this. Not that it should matter. Who's got the worst All-Star game batting average of all time?
Well, that'd probably be somebody that had the most at bats and the least amount of hits, right? Because I don't even know how you judge that. Like, there's obviously, Riley Green's, what do you say, is 0 for 7?
0 for 7.
So,
yeah.
I mean, what, is somebody like 0 of 13? 0 of 15?
Yeah, I don't even know. I know there are guys who have gotten there. Guys like Chris Davis, who was a big-time player for Baltimore for a short period of time. And he struggled mightily as well. I don't know the answers to the way back time machine of guys like that, but it to me, it doesn't mean that Riley Green's not an all-star. You know what I mean? Like Harmon Killebrew, 256, Andrew Jones, guys like that. I mean, good players. Doesn't mean that I don't think they're all-stars. Doesn't mean that they're not considered really good players. But it doesn't mean that, I'm going to judge them based on all of that one particular mid-season moment because they had to get there.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. It's the fact that you and me have to talk about it in a way where it's like we have to defend them. It's like, they made the All-Star game, man.
But it's also very selective, Andy. Like,
right.
Nobody said that about Dingler. Nobody says it about.
No, you're 100% right on that.
And the reason they don't is because Dingler doesn't have the same reputation after what Green did a year ago, and the same thing with McGonigal.
Yeah, it's the 202 strikeouts or whatever it was.
And as I mentioned yesterday, the convenient thing is, he strikes out too much. 36 bombs and 111 RBIs. Let's just have that go right over our head. Quick timeout. First hour is in the bag. Here on X's and Bros, brought to you by Michelin's Wealth.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Where are you watching the Tigers this year? Superfly Hayes here for Detroit Sportsnet. Sign up like the Ute Show did with the Detroit Sportsnet Tigers Wings package. Subscription info at tigers.com and MLB.com.
Huge here for the Purple community of Van Andel Institute. They're honored to be a part of the Make Ways for a Great Cause at the Stand Up for the Cure Lakeshore paddleboarding event at Ross Park in Norton Shores on Saturday, July 25th. Grab your paddleboard and your sunscreen to raise awareness and critical funds for community health programs at Hackley Community Care and Breast Cancer Research at Van Andel Institute. Paddleboarders of all experience levels are welcome. The vibrant event will also include yoga, music, family-friendly entertainment, and screenings for breast cancer. Learn more about Stand Up for the Cure Lakeshore and register at suftc.org.
The big shows are at Soaring Eagle. Eric Church.
All you gotta do is put a drink in my
Friday, August 14th with special guest Ashley McBride. The Free the Machine Tour, part of the Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series. Tickets start at $87 and are on sale now at the box office at etix.com.
Drink a little drink, smoke a little smoke.
The party starts with Eric Church plus Ashley McBride. August 14th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
thought what Major League Baseball has done with the red carpet is pretty cool, don't you? I think it's awesome. I mean, you get guys walking out there and doing the interviews. I know it's a little dramatic, but it's the interviews are really good. The interview with Kevin McGonigal was really good on the red carpet yesterday. Now they left out Riley Green and who the best dressed is. He gave it to Justin Verlander, but you understand where I'm going with this. I think they've done a much better job with this stuff. So kudos to Major League Baseball. Kudos to the city of Philadelphia.
It seems like the players are always like in the best mood. Like they all want to talk, actually.
Yeah, and they should be. There's a little bit of a misconception, I think. I was reading an article the other day by a former Detroit writer, maybe still is. I thought he was retired, but anyway, the belief that Tarek Skubal is going to get this haul at the trade deadline. Baseball Almanac did this study about 4 years ago, and it was how more ace pitchers are more valuable in the offseason than they are at the trade deadline. Okay. They examined trade deadlines during an offseason. So, for example, Blake Snell was traded. Hugh Darvish was traded to the Padres. Okay. The findings were that there is, if you wait to the offseason, the chances to receive equal value are far greater. There is a belief right now by some that any trade for Skubal ahead of the deadline could be a possible record breaker in terms of midsummer deals. I'm not one of those people who buy into that. Yes, he's got back-to-back Cy Youngs. Yes, he's considered one of the best pitchers on the planet. Yes, the Tigers would expect to dip into a specific team who trades for Skubal, Yankees, Dodgers, Brewers, Braves, Rays, as part of the farm system. They need to improve their 40-man roster. There's no question about that. I don't understand. I said this before they let Jahmai Jones go. How is he a 40-man roster guy? Makes no sense whatsoever. They've got a couple of guys like that on their team. Not as bad as it was years ago, but a couple of guys bad on that team. I don't believe they're going to get a massive haul for Tarek Skubal. And here's why. I think it depends on who they're trading him to. If you're trading him to a Rays or a Brewers, those teams are not giving up players for the most part on their roster that has made them so good in the first place.
Yeah, it's hard. No, it's 100% hard to see it going that direction, especially.
I mean, if you're a general manager, excuse me, if you're a general manager of those teams, Andy, why would you do that?
I don't know. That's what I'm wondering.
Tampa's got the most wins in the American League. The Brewers have the second most wins in the National League. The Braves lead their division by 7 games. The Dodgers have the largest lead in all of baseball, of any division leader, at 11.5 over Arizona. They are the favorites to win it all. If you want to go get a guy like Skubal and prevent somebody else from getting them, that's possible. That's a pretty steep price to pay just to play keep away when your team is already great.
Yeah.
Do you think the Dodgers they're going to win their division? I think that's fair to say. But let's say, and this is probably not going to happen because San Diego plays within the division. But let's just say, for sake of argument, the Padres make Michael King available. He's a pretty good pitcher for San Diego. Not a great pitcher, but he's a guy who's got 6 wins and he's got a decent whip. It's not great. I'm just using it as an example. Could that add to the back end of their rotation to make them even more formidable? Yes. Do they need Tarek Skubal to become dominant? No.
Right.
So that's the reason, like they could sit there and go, look, what's your asking price? We're not going to go that steep, but we'll give you this. It may not be a record haul, as some writers are suggesting. And then the Dodgers just go, okay, listen, that's too steep for us. We'll look elsewhere. Somebody else has got a pitcher that we have identified and we may want.
Well, here's the other thing for me too with the big haul. Like, do you think that obviously we talked about it a couple of days ago how he's only went 6 innings since he's come back from the injury. He's had the 3, surgeries. Like, does that play a factor into it too? Because people keep talking about this big haul. Like, what if he doesn't pitch longer than 5 innings his next couple of starts? Do you really think somebody's going to give you that much when that's what he's been doing since the?
I wouldn't.
Right. That's how I feel about it too.
Let me ask you this. And this is not a knock on Tarek Skubal. I think he's one of the best lefties in baseball.
100%. Same here.
If you're the Brewers or the Braves or the Dodgers or the Rays, if you could get Joe Ryan, who's a really good pitcher. Now, he's a righty, but I don't know how much that factors in to other. If you could get Joe Ryan for a couple of prospects instead of giving up somebody on your current 40-man and a couple of prospects and then some, or a bigger haul for Tarek Skubal, why wouldn't you do that? Joe Ryan is going to cost you less money in the offseason if you want to keep him. It's going to cost you a hell of a lot less than it's going to cost to keep Tarek Skubal.
Yeah.
These are some of the things that I think sometimes we have a tendency to forget when people say, we make it sound like it's easy. I would either hold on to Skubal or I would trade him. In other words, I would buy or I'd sell. And I would hold out trading Skubal until I got a massive haul. Other teams will just move on.
And if Scott Harris makes a trade to make a trade, he's never going to hear the end of it. So he's not going to just do that either.
Yes, agreed. I don't know if he should have that mindset because it really doesn't matter what fans think. Fans think you should automatically have gone out and gotten Max Crosby if you're Brad Holmes. Fans think you should have gone out and gotten Trey Hendrickson.
Right.
Okay. You can't manage a team for the fans and the front office or on the field. But we do have to take a look into various other things that are associated with this. Other teams are going to add, so you've got to decide whether or not your team needs to add. You're not good enough right now to win it all. I know you think the starting rotation is, but if a team's throwing Christopher well, that would be a World Series. If a team is going to throw Max Fried or Garrett Cole or Carlos Rodon in a series against you, and that's the Yankees, and they figure you're only going 6 with your guy, that's all you've given us. Your bullpen stinks. Our bullpen's better. We're going to hold it out. We're going to wait out for it. All right. These teams, they're going to add before you are based on history. And if you're going to trade your guy, I'm the other team on the receiving end. I'm going to think to myself, look, I have a limit too, and there are other options. It's not like you got to go out and get the number one option. Joe Ryan's an all-star. Joe Ryan's got good numbers. Look at it. He's got good stuff. He's going to get you outs. He's going to give you starts. He's going to throw innings for you. He's a cheaper option. It doesn't mean you're selling out. It just means that you're holding on to some of the things that has made you successful in the first place. We act like all these teams are lining up for Tarek Skubal, and they're not. Do they want him? Every team in baseball would. That's not the point. The point is whether or not you have enough to get him without hurting your chances of winning your division, making the playoff run you expect to, that got you there in this position in the first place. Phone number on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. Text us, Sports Radio 21,000. There's a belief that there's no way the Tigers could win without Skubal, and I disagree with that. And there's a belief, too, that, of course, you're going to get this massive haul, and I don't believe in that either. You got to look at it from two different perspectives, folks, before you come up with a final deduction. We're back after this, brought to you by Meyer.
Our state is Mecca for golf, and one of Michigan's crown jewels is Tullymore and St. Ives, two world-class championship courses in one charming and beautiful location. The golf is challenging but fair. You're going to use every club in your bag. But let me tell you what makes Tullymore really special. It's the people. From the wait staff to the bartenders to the pro shop and the management, their sole purpose is to give you a memorable experience, and they do. Go to TullyMoreGolf.com today and experience a Michigan masterpiece.
Make ways for a great cause at Stand Up for the Cure Lakeshore paddleboarding event at Ross Park in Norton Shores on Saturday, July 25th. You can grab your paddleboard and your sunscreen to raise critical funds for breast cancer research and awareness programs. Register for Stand Up for the Cure at suftc.org.
September 11th at Soaring Eagle, a hot night of soul.
Grab somebody sexy, tell them hey.
Three-time Grammy winner Neo and the princess of hip-hop, Keisha Cole. Tickets start at $53 and are on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office or etix.com. Music that takes you there. Neo and Keisha, September 11th, part of the Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series.
Huge here for the Purple community at Van Andel Institute. They're honored to be a part of the Make Ways for a Great Cause at the Stand Up for the Cure Lakeshore paddleboarding event at Ross Park in Norton Shores on Saturday, July 25th. Grab your paddleboard and your sunscreen to raise awareness and critical funds for community health programs at Hackley Community Care and Breast Cancer Research at Van Andel Institute. Paddleboarders of all experience levels are welcome. The vibrant event will also include yoga, music, family-friendly entertainment, and screenings for breast cancer. Learn more about Stand Up for the Cure Lakeshore and register at suftc.org.
Okay, back with you here on X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan. Thanks for being with us. The phone number on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. You can text us, Sports Radio 21,000. You can join us in the chat as we stream live on YouTube, on Facebook, and on X as well. We did get a text regarding a Dylan Larkin situation. It's interesting. I love that we're kind of all over the place. Dallas does not want to sign their winger Robertson. I don't think it's not that they don't want him. It's that they got to be careful on the price, because how much can you fit under the cap? Let's not lose sight that a guy who just had 45 goals and 91 points has 4 straight years of 80 points or more. That the team he plays for doesn't want him. Oh, they want him. It's the price. So I want you to think about that for a minute. He's got 4 straight years of 80 points or more. Dylan Larkin, okay, in his career, this past season had 67, the year before 70, the year before that 69, the year before that 79. He has never had 80 points in his career. And he has never scored more than the 34 goals he just played or just scored this past season. So to say they don't want him is untrue. To say that they're afraid they may not be able to sign him is absolutely true. Jason Robertson turned down an 8-year deal in Seattle at $15 million per season. That's crazy. Connor McDavid doesn't make that. Nathan McKinnon doesn't make that. Leo Carlson does, which is crazy. Anaheim had to match the Philadelphia Flyers offer of $18 million. But Jason Robertson turned that down. He's a restricted free agent. So let's be careful on the wording there. It's not that they don't want him. They do want him. They're just afraid they can't afford him. They can afford Dylan Larkin. Larkin has added Dallas to his tradable team list. It was originally 3. He expanded it. He put in Dallas. Good for you. All right. There's a combination there.
So many options.
Yeah, so many options. I mean, Florida can't do it. Vegas can't do it, right? You're looking at various teams. Dallas has the connection with Jim Nill and Steve Yzerman, obviously. Anyway, the text continues. Larkin has Dallas on his list. What about a trade of Larkin, DeBrincat to Dallas for Robertson and a first rounder and another player for depth? I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning of throwing DeBrincat in. Oh, he can be a free agent after this year. You're going to have to use, like, Detroit's 29 under the cap. They're going to have to get creative to sign a guy like Jason Robertson and still keep guys. The other problem you have, of course, is the center position, which is where Detroit is light in the first place. Alex DeBrincat's a right winger. Lucas Raymond's a left winger. I don't know if they can make the transition to center. They wouldn't be able to, not the way that Dylan Larkin plays the position, because he plays it in a very high level, high hockey IQ level, 200 feet, all that other stuff, right? I mean, if you think about it, once you trade Larkin, your number one center is what? Andrew Kopp, Emmett Finney, Marco Kasper? Please. So maybe that's why the text is saying, you got to get a center. You can have Robertson over to Brinkett, pick up a first rounder, and go out and side or trade Raymond for a center and start the rebuild. My God, man. I mean, you want to trade Raymond and Larkin and DeBrincat. You want to trade your entire first line to start the rebuild, and that's going to entice Jason Robertson to stay in Detroit?
It's tough sell.
Seriously. Think about it for a second. You're the general manager. You're sitting down at Little Caesars Arena with a press conference. Hi, everybody. I just traded our entire first line. Oh, and by the way, Patrick Kane's not coming back. I just traded DeBrincat, who led our team in goals with 41 and points. I traded Lucas Raymond, who is an assistant captain, and I just signed to a long-term deal. He was second on our team in points. I traded Dylan Larkin because he wanted to, but he was third on our team in points. Oh, and by the way, Patrick Kane, who is fourth on the team or fifth on the team in points, will not be signing back with us. But here's what I got. I got Jason Robertson, a first-round pick, and I'm going to go look for a center because there's a lot of centers out there. which is pretty obvious. That's not going to work. Okay?
Believe it or not.
I believe it or not. And no offense, but if you're Jason Robertson and that's the plan, do you want to sign long-term here? What's the message you're sending to people? My God, man, think about this for a second. We're fans, and we think the message that a guy like Brad Holmes sends to us by not going out, re-signing Zadarius Smith or fixing a defensive end means that he's not, quote unquote, going for it. But you're going to tell a player who you want to commit to you long term that you're not having anyone to play with. Who's on my line, Steve? Well, that's a great question. We're going to center your line with Andrew Kopp, Emmett Finney, or Marco Casper. What? You see, Steve, I want to get points, and I want to win. I had 91 points this past year. How am I going to get 91 points from Marco Casper? Can you help me with that? The Red Wings don't have a center as it is. You think they're just going to go out and sign one? You think a first-round pick for a team like Dallas, who's going to contend for a Stanley Cup, is just going to be awesome? Let me ask you a question. Be honest with me. Who did Dallas take in the NHL draft?
I'm not going to act like I know.
Oh, okay. I don't know either. And I don't think anybody does.
Oh, because
except maybe in Dallas.
A lot of the names in the NHL draft, besides like the first couple, you kind of just stop. I think you tune it out pretty much after that is what it feels like.
I mean, come on. I mean, where are you going to finish? Let's be realistic here. Where are you going to finish? If you're the Dallas Stars, you're one of the better teams in the National Hockey League on a regular basis. Where are you finishing? You're finishing near the bottom. Okay? Knowing that, why in the world do you think you're going to get some 18-year-old, I might add, an 18-year-old, and you're going to be able to go out and make an impact? Oh, you're starting the rebuild. Why do you want to start the rebuild with a guy who just turned down $15 million? Why not just bring all you guys up from Grand Rapids? You know, that guy doesn't want to play here. He doesn't want to play here with guys who can't feed him the puck, who guys aren't responsible, guys aren't good. Come on, man. You literally in one text, they want to trade the top 3 offensive players on your team for a team that doesn't have very many offensive players.
Better not expect to compete if you do that. I don't understand how you could.
It's not just competing, Andy. It's the chance of luring anybody else.
Yeah.
This is the easy thing to say is this is just going to be a rebuild. What does a rebuild entail? It's just a convenient word. We used it 10 years ago.
I was going to say, yeah. When did the rebuild start then, or when did it even end?
Everybody, I was hosting shows back then on a different radio station. Here's what I got. I'm so tired of making the playoffs and not being a Stanley Cup threat. My point to people back then, and it was 25 consecutive seasons of making the playoffs. My threat to people back then is be careful what you wish for, because you don't know what a rebuild entails. You just think that let's get these guys off the books and bring in 26 new guys. And that's not how you operate a franchise. A rebuild, so it hasn't worked in 10 years. You're going to blow it up and start it all over again. Going to be another 10 years. How you feeling after that?
Hey, good luck convincing anybody to be any sooner. That's for sure.
Maybe I'm short-sighted here. I want to keep good players. I want to add to my stable of good players. Raymond's a good player. He's not a great player. Sider's a really good player.
Well, yeah, when you sign them, you'd have to think they want to play with good players too right now, man.
Holy crap. Yeah.
Like, come on.
They
don't want to go through that. They don't want to go through all those years. No way.
100%. All right, 27 after the hour. We're back after this. We're brought to you by Meyer.
Get a jump on back-to-school shopping with hot deals on Meyer brand must-haves. Stock up on school supplies for $1 or less, including Meyer 70-sheet notebooks, glue sticks, 2-pocket folders, and 10-count washable markers. Plus, save on breakfast favorites like select varieties of Meyer toaster pastries, pancake mix, syrup, and instant oatmeal, all just $1.79 each. Good life quality and real low prices. Only at Meyer. Exclusions apply. See the Meyer app for details.
Huge here for my good friend Josh Garvey and the team at Dorn Mayhew, West Michigan, one of the world's top accounting, CPA, and business firms. Their worldwide headquarters are in Troy, Michigan, on the east side of the state. And Josh and his team connect with all the sports fans and businesses across Michigan. They bring you John Beeline on the Huge Show. They bring you Lomas Brown during the Lion season. They are a top shelf team when it comes to growth and understanding what their clients need. And mix in when we do the Beat Huge contests or the NCAA March Madness brackets. Thank you, Josh Garvey, for what you do for the Huge Show and the Michigan Sports Network. Simple and easy. Just find Dorn Mayhew on all the social networks or just Google Dorn Mayhew and find out how they can help your business. And again, a special thanks to Josh Garvey and the Dorn Mayhew team in West Michigan.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
on social media, Andy, how a number of algorithms are used, and suddenly whatever you start to look at, it kind of pops up on a regular basis.
Yep. It's not a coincidence.
What is that algorithm for you?
What comes up on my reels and stuff?
Golf videos come up for me.
Yeah. I mean, I get plenty
all
of those.
the time.
That's for sure.
And I'm not going to lie. I watch them.
Oh, yeah.
I practice them. And I screw myself up.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a guy swinging a club and telling me 2 thumbs up. Another guy telling me to put one of those golf sticks between 2 loops in my belt, and that's how I get my swing going. Colin Morikawa telling me how to drive the iron. Another guy telling me the efficiency for putting or drive. None of it works. I watch it. I start to think about it, and then I forget about it a little bit later on. It's kind of like a really good joke. You're like, I got to remember that, and then you forget it.
Yeah, I feel like, it's weird because in other sports, people tell you'd think you'd want to take advice from like every person. I feel like the more in golf you listen to different views of it, it can just mess you up because then you try too many different things and you think about it. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, it's just like they're not right there either to tell you when you watch it through a video what you're doing wrong, maybe even from their advice, which also can make it harder. See, I've always tried to, if I'm going to use like a YouTube video or like a reel like that, I've always tried to make sure it's like the same person for a while if I'm actually trying to work on something.
Andy, they're also really good at it. That's the reason they're teaching it.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm not good at it yet.
Yep.
And I'm trying to get it. Of course, I say yet. I don't know if that's going to work. From our friend Freddie Shep, let's see. You keep Larkin and you keep Raymond. Let's see how far that takes you. Freddie, that was not the argument. I'm saying don't trade your entire first line. I know you're going to have to trade Larkin. It would not surprise me one bit if he's with the Red Wings come training camp. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Because Steve Yzerman folks, when another team, when the entire universe, hockey universe, can tell that Dylan Larkin's a pretty good deal at $8.7 million for the next 5 years, that's a good deal. Steve Yzerman understands that. He also understands that his team has needs. And he's not giving this guy up just for nothing. I don't disagree that he should be and eventually will be traded. I'm just telling you, you can't trade away DeBrincat and lose Kane and trade Larkin and trade away Raymond and expect to get a guy like Jason Robertson and anybody else. Jason Robertson's a restricted free agent. Dallas wants to trade him. Steve Yzerman wouldn't trade for Quinn Hughes because he wouldn't sign an extension. You think he's going to trade for Jason Robertson if he knows he's not going to extend him?
Absolutely not.
Come on, man. I mean, it's just logic. You can get angry all you want. And you can say, man, you're not going to win with Larkin and Raymond. I'm not suggesting you are. I'm just telling you, you can't trade away your first line. Nobody in hockey does that. Nobody in sports does that.
And that's why he's already in a tough position to make this trade in the first place, and only having 4 teams to deal with to do it makes it even tougher. Like it's even harder to find a way to make this right now.
Exactly. I guess to a certain extent, there's no reason to rush it. On the other hand, it's not some past situations like where a guy's going to be a free agent at the end of the year, Brad Marchand, Claude Giroux, whomever, and you've got to make the move. You don't have to. So the Red Wings, unfortunately, here's the only sense of urgency. The Red Wings are kind of stuck in limbo. How much more can they do until they get that done? That's the big question. All right. So anyway, that's the decision. That's the thought right now on the Dylan Larkin situation. Let's get to another text. Go ahead.
Sure. I got going back to your all-star stuff with the worst hitter. Maybe it was someone texted Wally Berger, most all-star ABs without a hit. He went 0 for 13.
Wow. Thank you for that.
Wally Berger. I looked back 1930 through 1940 when he played.
Wow.
And
long time ago.
Yeah.
Right? Long time ago. Wally Berger.
Logos on teams and like lettering that I don't even recognize. So.
Exactly right. Yeah. Wally Berger played for Boston, played for the New York Giants, not football, played for Cincinnati, played for Philadelphia. That's crazy stuff. I didn't realize that. But Boston back then was the Boston Braves, by the way. It wasn't the Boston Red Sox. He played for the Boston Braves. All right. I saw this. This is something that we've been talking about a lot. The ESPN list. Love the lists. Kudos to ESPN.com for making us think a little bit. And their latest comes with off-ball linebackers for 2026 and the ranking of them. So we've talked about the running backs, Jahmyr Gibbs, number 2. We talked about cornerbacks. Lions don't have one there. Talked about edge rushers, Aiden Hutchinson, number 5. Talked about defensive tackles. Ali McNeil is not on that list. Neither is Tyler Williams. Talked about tight ends. Sam Laporta, high on the list there. I don't remember if he's 4 or 5, Andy, but he was top 5. Offensive tackles, Penei Sewell, number 1. Interior offensive linemen, none. Quarterbacks, Jared Goff was 9. Is that right? I believe we talked about that.
Yep,
just
it was
yesterday.
9. Yep.
Okay. So, and now you got off-ball linebackers. Later on today, wide receivers and then safeties. Lions probably won't have a safety because of the injuries. Wide receiver, it'll be interesting to see where Amon-Ra St. Brown is. I would hope he's top 5. I would hope. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, off-ball linebackers. Number 1 is Fred Warner. Doesn't surprise me one bit. I think he's deserving. He's one of my favorite players. I think he's phenomenal. What we don't totally comprehend is how quickly a linebacker or any defensive player diagnoses a play, recognizes something, and is able to get there. So one NFL coordinator said he diagnoses faster than anyone. That's really his secret sauce, processes the game at an incredibly fast level. So Fred Warner, highest ranking 1, lowest ranking 5, last year's ranking 1. So back-to-back years, Fred Warner of the Niners number 1. Roquan Smith, Baltimore, highest ranking 1, lowest ranking unranked. Okay.
Unranked is kind of shocking.
Still kind of a little confusing to me. Has a very strong reputation. Okay. He was good last year. He wasn't great, but he was good last year. Number 3 is, and I like this guy a lot. I just think it's a little confusing at how quickly he ascended. And that's Carson Schlesinger, Cleveland Browns. It's a rookie. Okay. Highest ranking 2, lowest ranking unranked. As a 23-year-old, he's phenomenal. Okay. And maybe he's the next star. One personnel executive told ESPN he is Luke Kuechly reincarnated. I don't know if that's the case. That's pretty high level stuff. But he's really, really good. He had 156 total tackles, 11 of them for loss, 2.5 sacks. He was the defensive rookie of the year. Does that warrant him being 3? Does that mean he should be over Zach Bond, who's number 4, and who I think is a good player? Pro Football Focus, you want to go by numbers, he's at 80.9 as a grade. 18 pressures, 4 sacks, 88 tackles. Okay? Good player. Again, numbers can be misleading. Jack Campbell's number 5. Jack Campbell has a higher Pro Football Focus rating than Zach Bond. He has a higher Pro Football Focus rating than Carson Schlesinger. And he has a higher Pro Football ranking than Roquan Smith. For what that's worth. Pro Football Focus may not be your bag. I'm just giving you some numbers, okay? 110 solo tackles. That was 4th in the league, and more than Warner, Smith, Bond, and Schlesinger, okay? 3 forced fumbles, couple of breakups. Didn't have a pick. Okay, whatever. He is number 1 in so many different categories, all right? 176 tackles. That's solos and assists. Most by a Lion since Chris Spielman in 1994. Okay. He had a 40% run stop win rate. That ranks 5th amongst linebackers. He has, by all accounts, every analyst we've talked to, every beat writer we've talked to, every defensive coordinator who's gone on record, and Dan Campbell, his head coach, has gone on record, has one of the highest football IQs. He's one of the toughest players. He's one of the best downhill linebackers. He's one of the best tacklers in general. I think number 5 is a little low. I think you want to put Roquan Smith up there because of his history. I think Jack Campbell is no worse than number 3.
I could agree with that. No question about it. I don't see. I think anybody should be able to understand why you'd have that argument too.
This might be a little hyperbole. I think he's the second best Lion at what he does. I think Penei Sewell's the best at his position. I think the second best player on the Lions team at what he does for his position is Jack Campbell.
I'm trying to think right now. I mean,
well, Jahmyr Gibbs.
I was say Gibbs would probably be the other one that you'd be thinking of. But.
That's right, because you've got Bijan Robinson in front of him.
Yeah.
If I said Fred Warner's in front of him, of Jack Campbell, and he's got better numbers in certain categories than Fred Warner, would you buy that? Probably not. There's a lot of people who argue if you want to make the argument that Jahmyr Gibbs is the best running back in football, you can do that, and you would have a legitimate case. Now, on the other hand, there's a lot of players. I shouldn't say a lot, but there's a number of running backs who you could make that case for. San Francisco loves Christian McCaffrey. What he does for them in the passing game and running game is pretty unique and pretty special. Bijan Robinson, as we brought up, okay? Jonathan Taylor is in that conversation. Don't tell me Saquon Barkley's not in that conversation. He absolutely is. Derrick Henry. We could go on. There's no doubt that Jahmyr Gibbs is part of that elite group. So is Jack Campbell. So it's an interesting question. And in case you were wondering, after Campbell at 5, you've got Azeez Al-Shaair in Houston. The weird thing about Campbell is highest ranking 1, somebody actually went out and said he's unranked. Like, how are you saying this dude is unranked? To me, it makes no sense whatsoever. He's the ultimate throwback player. Oh, and by the way, and I don't know if people will remember this long term, and I don't know if they'll give him credit. When he has a bad game, and it's bound to happen because every player does, when he has a bad game, how many people are going to be on him and forgetting, oh, he took less money to stay? Jack Campbell he could have gotten more money than what he signed for. What did he sign? A 4-year deal worth $81 million a couple of months ago? May, right? I believe that's when he signed the contract. 4 years, $81 million. He could have gotten more than that. A hometown deal. There are other players in sports. It's kind of refreshing. You're seeing some, not all, but you're seeing some players say to themselves, hey, you know what? I think I would. Macklin Celebrini said it about staying in San Jose. Got to be careful there. It might be one of those situations where, you know, you the Dylan Larkin situation, and then suddenly you want out. Speaking of football, The Athletic had this article: 21 NFL teams changed offensive coordinators. The biggest challenges facing new play callers. When they had Drew Petzing on here, you know, they've got Mike LaFleur and they've got Todd Monken and they've got all these different. They've got Drew Petzing. Here's the headline: can he help resurrect a once potent Lions attack? I read that and I thought to myself, what do they mean by that? And the reason I say that is because where did Detroit's offense a problem a year ago? What am I missing here? I get that it's a fun headline. I'm asking you, was it not a potent attack? And the reason I say what do you mean by that is are you looking at total yards? If you're looking at total yards, Detroit was 5th in yards per game. Are you looking at points per game? Detroit was 5th in points per game. Were you looking at passing? Because it's a passing league. Detroit was 3rd in passing yards per game. I suppose if you're looking at rushing and specifically asking rushing, Detroit was middle of the pack in rushing yards per game. What other statistic am I missing when it comes to something like that? A potent offensive attack That's pretty damn good balance.
Yeah.
Who do you think was the best offense a year ago? Would you say the Rams? Maybe it was New England.
Yeah, I would go with the Rams over New England probably off.
The Rams were number one in scoring. As far as running the football, the Rams, I believe, were a little bit lower than the Lions. I would have to look that up a little bit closer. They were right around the same. They were top 10. Top 10 in rushing, number one in scoring, number one in passing, and yards per game, number one. How many other teams were as top 5 in 3 of the 4 major categories? So, for example, total yards, Dallas, number 2. Yards per game, Dallas, number 2. Points per game, Dallas, number 7. So they're not in those categories.
Yeah,
unless you think rushing is really important, Andy, and Dallas didn't run the football great last year.
The points per game at the end of the day is probably the most important statistic.
Sure it is.
Regardless.
Yeah. So I guess my point is, and maybe it's a little nitpicky, what do you mean resurrect a once potent attack?
No, I don't. I never understand that,
was
man.
Pretty potent.
Yeah, their offense was still good last year just because they had the record, drop that they had. Doesn't mean their offense was good. I swear sometimes people, when they talk about the Lions, fail to forget that their defense is a root of a lot of the issues of this team. I feel like people, for some reason, still go to the offense.
Yes. And why do you think that is? Sacks.
Yeah, right.
That's what it is. It's strictly sacks because Jared Goff was sacked 38 times, a career high. They forget that it was 31 the year before, 30 the year before that. I don't know how many is too many. It's not like it's Tua Tagovailoa. It's not like guys getting sacked 60 plus times. Okay. And that's happened to some quarterbacks as of late, some young quarterbacks where they're getting pressured constantly. I think when you look at this team and where it needs to improve, yes, interior protection, no question. The offense, to say that a potent attack, it's not potent. It already is. It is an attack. It doesn't. Potent means the potential. That potential, it's not potential. It's definitely there. It's been proven year in and year out over the last 3 years, arguably the best offense in all of football. I think it's more about chemistry for Drew Petzing and Jared Goff being on the same page and so on. And let's face it, people love creativity. Can they protect Goff? Are they going to get creative? And will you see that simpatico type feeling that you had when Goff was associated with Ben Johnson? Speaking of Goff, when we come back, we will talk a little bit about a reason why he should be held in high regard, in addition to some of the things we've already said about him. This is X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network, brought to you by Meyer.
The big shows are at Soaring Eagle. Eric Church.
All you gotta do is put a drink in my hand.
Friday, August 14th with special guest Ashley McBride. The Free the Machine Tour, part of the Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series. Tickets start at $87 and are on sale now at the box office and etix.com.
Drink a little drink, smoke a little smoke.
The party starts with Eric Church plus Ashley McBride. August 14th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Huge here for the incredible Crystal Mountain Resort in Thompsonville, Michigan. If you've never experienced the mountain, it's unbelievable. They offer up 36 holes of championship golf, Betsy Valley, Mountain Ridge, accommodations, a ton of choices. Go to crystalmountain.com, see everything for yourself. One of the top spas in America. They can handle businesses, small groups, big groups, your buddies, the ladies, and more. Book your getaway now at crystalmountain.com. That's crystalmountain.com.
Farrah's Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Rod Stewart returns to Soaring Eagle Thursday, September 3rd. The Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series with special guest Richard Marks. Tickets start at $71 and are on sale now at the box office and etix.com. One last time, Rod Stewart with Richard Marks, September 3rd. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Where are you watching the Tigers this year? Superfly Hayes here for Detroit Sportsnet. Sign up like the Ute Show did with the Detroit Sportsnet Tigers Wings package. Subscription info at tigers.com and MLB.com.
Huge here for the Purple community of Van Andel Institute. They're honored to be a part of the Make Ways for a Great Cause at the Stand Up for the Cure Lakeshore paddleboarding event at Ross Park in Norton Shores on Saturday, July 25th. Grab your paddleboard and your sunscreen to raise awareness and critical funds for community health programs at Hackley Community Care and Breast Cancer Research at Van Andel Institute. Paddleboarders of all experience levels are welcome. The vibrant event will also include yoga, music, family-friendly entertainment, and screenings for breast cancer. Learn more about Stand Up for the Cure Lakeshore and register at suftc.org.
Yeah, I think, after last season, I think we were all kind of disappointed. Once we found out we couldn't make the playoffs going into the last game, we were disappointed, but we weren't going to end the season on a low note. We were going to make sure we finished the season strong, and that's what we did with Chicago. But I would say the whole offseason, I feel like a lot of us were, disappointed with the year we had, before. Feel like we have a pretty good team. And so going into the OTAs and, going into this training camp, I think the model for us is getting back to what we do. Nothing fancy, hard work, grit. And I think it just starts with out on the practice field, out in the meeting rooms, us as a team together, being who we are, and then, translating that onto Sundays.
I'm on Ron St. Brown on a podcast yesterday. Love the attitude. Kind of typical, but that's okay. I would hope that he would think that, they're pissed off from a year ago and they're getting ready to make amends this year. He finished last year 5th in the league in yards. He finished 2nd in touchdown receptions with 11. Yards per reception, does that matter to you? I don't know. Yards per game probably does matter to you. And he was, I think, like top 5 in that category. It was Puka Nacua, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jamar Chase, George Pickens, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown. So he was 5th in that regard. Welcome back. X's and BrO's Monday through Friday, 6 until 9, throughout the great state of Michigan, streaming live on X, YouTube, and on Facebook as well. I saw this statistic that makes you, of course, Amon-Ra St. Brown receiving passes from Jared Goff. Jared Goff, a top 10 quarterback without question. I don't think you can deny that. I saw this post from an NFL account, and it was red zone pass attempts and red zone touchdowns. Andy, where do you think Jared Goff, if he ranks at all, in those two categories? Red zone pass attempts inside the 20-yard line.
I'm going to guess he ranks pretty low in that.
He actually ranks really high.
Okay.
Matthew Stafford is number 1. He threw 110 red zone passes last year.
You know what? I guess last year they were getting stuffed a lot more with their David Montgomery tries and stuff like that. It felt like that worked a lot the year before that. So maybe that led to more passing. I don't know.
Maybe. Stafford's number 1, Dak Prescott number 2, Jared Goff number 3. He threw 94 passes inside the red zone.
You have to be there a lot to get that opportunity.
Exactly right. Well said. Red zone touchdowns. Where do you think he ranks?
Well, based off that, he's got I would say, top 5.
He's number 2. Only Stafford had more. In fact, Jared Goff is the only NFC North quarterback, top 5, in both those categories. So red zone pass attempts, it was Stafford 1, Prescott 2, Goff 3, Lawrence 4, Bo Nix and Patrick Mahomes 5, which is interesting considering Patrick Mahomes only played half the year. Red zone touchdowns, Stafford 1, 33, Jared Goff 2, 25, then Lawrence, Prescott, Drake May, and Justin Herbert, tied for 5th. That was posted by an NFL account. Somebody was then ripping on Matthew Stafford over that. What a joke. A manufactured MVP. Throw another 1-yard touchdown pass. How about the pick sixes? And I thought to myself, well, okay, no one likes pick sixes, obviously. Who do you think has the most pick sixes in history? This is as of March this year. Brett Favre has 32 in his career.
A lot of interceptions for him. So.
Yeah. Matthew Stafford is tied with him with 32 in his career. When you play as long as those two have played or did play, and
32 seems really high, though.
That seems like really high.
Yeah.
Until I bring up other names and their numbers. Ready? Dan Marino, Hall of Famer, 29 pick sixes. Joe Namath, Hall of Famer, overrated, 28 pick sixes. Drew Brees, Hall of Famer, 27 pick sixes. Peyton Manning, Hall of Famer, 27 pick sixes. Phillip Rivers, not a Hall of Famer, Some people would make an argument, 26 pick sixes. There's your top 5 plus. In fact, the top 10, there's probably only one quarterback who you're like, there's nothing special there. I can't necessarily jump on board with Vinny Testaverde. So after you get through Phillip Rivers with his 26, then you have Carson Palmer. He ranks 8th. Vinny Testaverde ranks 9th. And Eli Manning ranks 10th. Now, you have to play. First of all, you have to take a lot of snaps, throw a lot of passes, play a long time to have that many pick sixes, you would think, unless you're absolutely awful. If you're going to throw that many and you're only playing 4 years, then not many coaches are going to stick with you. Vinny Testaverde, for what it's worth, played 21 years in the National Football League. So I just wanted to bring that up because I think Jared Goff, look, every quarterback is going to throw some short yardage touchdown passes, whether it be Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, Dak Prescott, whatever. Are you going to complain about throwing jump balls to really good wide receivers? I wouldn't. I would throw Calvin Johnson. I would throw it to Calvin Johnson, Herman Moore in the past. I'd throw it to them on a regular basis. When they're 6'5" and they're going up against a 5'11" cornerback, yeah, I'm going to throw it to those guys, especially when they have a vertical of 40 inches or more. Okay, so yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, just wanted to bring that up, and another reason why I think Jared Goff should be held in such high regard. Tomorrow, Andy, I don't know if this is your daily wager. Tomorrow starts the Open Championship in Ireland. We were talking about guys who are favored yesterday and guys who might be in the hunt and who you like to watch play. We mentioned Tommy Fleetwood. Tommy Fleetwood is playing a 9-wood and a driving iron that go about the same distance this week. Do you have a 9-wood?
A 9-wood?
What's the lowest wood in your bag? So, for example, I've got a hybrid that's a 21-degree loft.
Okay. I've got a 4 hybrid.
You got a 4 hybrid.
Yep, okay. I have a 5 wood.
Do you know what?
Don't really use it.
I have a 5 wood too. What do you hit the 5 wood?
At best, it's usually like 220. I'd say that's
what
I have best. Remember, with like a roll.
Yeah, I hit mine pretty consistent. I hit mine 205 yards. My 5 wood, nothing special, but I needed a club that would. I couldn't quite get there with my hybrid. My hybrid's about 190 or so. It's a 21 degree. I was hitting the other day, I was hitting some 7 woods that were 20 degrees, I believe. And I was hitting those about the same as I was hitting my 5 wood, which is a little strange.
That's what I find sometimes too. It just meant like my 4 hybrid, I can hit the same distance as that. I just hit my 4 hybrid more consistently, like where I want it to go. So
and it's about spin too, right?
Yeah,
it's about spin.
Yep.
I couldn't do a driving iron, but
Driving
Tommy Fleetwood
sounds nuts.
It sounds crazy. Tommy Fleetwood's got a 9-wood that's a 24-degree loft. The driving iron is a 20-degree loft. The length of the 9-wood is 41 1/4 inches. The length of the driving iron is 39 1/4. So one face is curved, one face is flat. How much of that plays a factor in people's golf game? I don't know. I have noticed there are more professional golfers who are choosing to play, would you call them long or the short woods, 9 woods, 7 woods, instead of taking some of the irons. I mean, depending on the course they're playing. I don't know how those guys hit 2 irons. I have no idea. Like I don't know how in the hell Jack Nicklaus hit a 1 iron back in the day.
That's insane.
You have to hit it so pure. I could never do that. I'm lucky if I can hit a 4 iron. Do you have a 4 iron in your bag, or have you replaced it?
No, I did have a 4 iron in my last iron set. Now I have a 5. That's the lowest.
So what are the woods you carry in your bag? Driver, 3 wood, 5 wood,
and a 4. I have a 4 hybrid.
And a 4 hybrid. Okay. So I've got driver, 3 wood, 5 wood, and the same. but I also carry a 4-iron, which is a little strange. I don't know why I was talking about that. I'm just excited for
I like it.
That starts tomorrow. Yeah. All right. When we come back, what's your fantasy league punishment? This is a really creative one that ties in with golf. We'll get to that when we come back on X's and Bros. After this, we're brought to you this hour by our friends at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
In the Den with Dan Dickerson.
It's a new day to celebrate and be free. And it's a new day full of action and excitement because it's a day for winning. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, your getaway reimagined. Let's take a look at where the Tigers are at the break. And on Friday, we'll talk about what to look for after the break. The first half was streaky, to say the least. 18-17 through 35 games. And then incredibly, the Tigers lost 21 of their next 25. The calendar flipped to June and all was well, sort of. The Tigers got healthy, they pitched well, they bombed the ball, and they got on a roll, sort of. The Tigers outscored their opponents by 46 runs in June, but went just 14-11 because the bullpen kept giving up big home runs late. The Tigers turned that around heading to the break. They are now 22-14 in their last 36, averaging over 5 runs a game while giving up under 3.5 runs a game. This is the team the Tigers thought they had going into the season. They do look primed for a big second half.
Huge here for the Carmody brothers and all the Buffalo Wild Wings across Michigan. You can watch the end of the World Cup at all Buffalo Wild Wings in Michigan. Yes, the U.S. has been bounced, but the best teams in the world remain. And you can watch all the games on all the TVs at all Buffalo Wild Wings locations in Michigan. Every single World Cup game that's left, you can watch it at your local Buffalo Wild Wings. Coming up later today at 3 on the Huge Show on the Michigan Sports Network, I'll deliver huge opinions on everything you're talking about.
15 after the hour. Welcome back. Saw an interesting little nugget of information. There are 10 wide receivers, Andy, 10, who have had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons in 2024 and 2025. So let's test your knowledge a little bit. Who are those players? 10 wide receivers in the National Football League who have had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons.
Oh, I would start with Amon-Ra St. Brown.
That's one of them.
That's one of them. I would go Puka Nacua.
Puka Nacua is incorrect.
Okay, injuries. Yep. Trying to think.
Puka, I think. First of all, you think Puka Nacua is one of the best wide receivers in football?
Yeah, that's kind of where my mind went right away.
Me too. Big, physical, right?
And I figured even with
he's only
injuries,
played 3 years in the league. 2 out of the 3 years he's had 1,000 yards. Last year was over 1,700. The year before he was 10 yards shy, even though he only played 11 games. Anyway, go ahead. So I'm going to give you 3 strikes. All right. So Puka Nacua is 1 strike. You are incorrect there. Who else?
Well, so is it you say I might have missed this
back-to-back years of 1,000-yard receiving.
But it does
2024 and 2025.
2024, 2025. Okay. Correct. I would say Mike Evans is in there, right?
Mike Evans is incorrect. What? He was hurt. Yeah.
Oh yeah, last year. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
snapped
my
it
fault.
last year. Yeah.
Yeah,
who's the best wide receiver in football? Come on.
Oh, Jackson's on the Jigba. No, because he didn't have it in 2024. That's true.
Right. I was going to say Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase.
So you got one. It's Jamar Chase. I would have guessed Justin Jefferson. Jefferson is there.
He did get it last year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Nico Collins. Malik Neighbors.
Neighbors. I never would have guessed that.
Well, Malik Neighbors in 20. So here's the thing. Malik Neighbors, who I thought coming out was a fantastic player.
Yeah, not that he's not good. I just didn't think he got to that number.
Malik, I was going to say he didn't quite get there. He got there as a rookie, but he didn't get there in 2025. Okay. Drake London.
Oh, yeah.
CeeDee Lamb.
That makes a lot of sense.
Jamison Williams. The Lions are the only team to have 2.
Wow.
Jamison Williams. So, for example, if you do, I don't want to get off on a tangent. AI is fine. Okay. It's used for a lot of different things. Good for them, right? I mean, people want to use AI as a possible idea to get something. Great. Cortland Sutton, by the way, is another one. But oftentimes it can be very misleading and it can be incorrect. You got to be very careful when you use certain things like that. So, for example, AI had Calvin Ridley. If you put this number in, Calvin Ridley last year in 2025 was hurt. He had 303 yards. He had 1,000-yard seasons in back-to-back years in 2023 and 2024, one with Jacksonville, one with Tennessee, but he didn't last year. Also, they had Malik Neighbors having 1,204 yards in 2025. He had 1,204 yards in 2024. Didn't have it last year. Anyway, so those are your numbers. The Lions are the only team with 2 guys. Okay? So that tells you something. Again, it goes back to kind of what we were talking about regarding the Lions offense. It's still pretty damn good. Mike Evans would have been there. Hell, Mike Evans did it 11 years in a row.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Mike Evans would have been there.
I don't know. I knew last year's the year he got hurt too. For some reason, just blanked my mind that was what the years you were asking for.
Yeah,
even after
he played.
Said it.
Yeah, he played 8 games last year. Now, in fairness to you, he had over 1,400 yards or over 1,000 yards, in 14 games the year before. So, not that he could have done it in 8, but if not for the injury, I'm sure Mike Evans would have been part of that conversation. I do want to talk about look, you're in a fantasy football league, right?
Yep.
Of course.
Multiple.
You're in multiple. That can be a dangerous thing. You better be good.
It's dangerous.
If do you have a punishment? I want you to think about this. We're going to do this at 8:35. What is the punishment for those who finish last? So we'll talk about that coming up. First, let's get to the final results of our poll question and the daily wager. I think the daily wager. Did your daily wager have to do with soccer again last night?
Yeah, that's how you feel about it too. Yeah, I picked France to win.
Correct me if I'm wrong here. I was talking with my son about this last night. They were the favorite going in.
They were, yeah. I thought they were going to win the whole thing. That was my pick, so I had to stick.
But for some reason, did I not tell? I thought for sure you had something to do with Spain because I said Spain hasn't allowed more than one goal the entire tournament. If you believe that defense wins championships, that's a common thought.
It is.
Then why wouldn't you pick Spain? Because according to most statistics, Spain has the best defense in the tournament.
It's very true. I guess I thought talent-wise on offense that France's offense would be a little bit better, I guess. I thought they could maybe at least get the goal. Yeah, and you would think that it's not like France is a bad defense. They're a pretty good overall team. So I just felt like if it was this game, a lot of people thought like one of the bets I was seeing a lot was that one team won't score in this game. And that was one I thought about taking yesterday just because it felt like with both teams' defenses being pretty good that whoever scored a goal was going to win the game. And I thought maybe France's offense would be the one to come through in that spot. But yeah, Spain played great. So, 2-0, that's impressive.
The one of the big headlines, not just the defense of Spain and the fact that France was the favorite going in but lost. Not that we're going to talk a lot about soccer, but Kylian Mbappe is considered one of the best players in the world.
Yep.
Was at least questioning a little bit his manager. They don't call them coaches; they call them managers. I forget the guy's name. As far as his tactics are concerned. And he said, we were 3 against 2 in midfield against Spain. That's hard. You really have to know the sport in order to talk about it in this regard. But he said there was a lack of communication on the press. I think we should have done man-to-man press and forced them to run with us. It's first of all, it's nice to see that American athletes are not the only ones who bitch and whine about things.
Right.
Second of all, it's nice to know that American superstars are not the only ones to bitch and whine about things. Coming out publicly and saying that, criticizing in this case, a manager, your head coach, I wonder how that's received in the soccer world, not America, but the soccer world, and whether or not that's overstepping your bounds. Or if they're going to sit back and say, if they have sports radio in France, I don't know if they do, you know what? Then you should have said something about it. Things of that nature. All right. So you lost that daily wager brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Why don't you give me a one for here today?
We're going to try to get back on the right track here. It's the first time we've been off track in a while, but I'm going to go, I'm going Lionel Messi. We're going to go with the GOAT here. Some people say of soccer. He's gotten 4 shots on goal in 4 of his last 5 games this World Cup. Not 4 shots on goal, just 4 shots in general. Sorry. 4 shots in general. I'm going to take him to do that again in a game that's, one of the biggest that he's ever played in his life. I'm going to take him to get 4 shots because they're giving it to you around even.
Is he, I don't know the answer to this. You may know. Is he the greatest soccer player of all time?
I don't know.
Is he better than Ronaldo?
That's the thing. I'm sure that there's again, the debate for me, I'm not going to be able to give you who is the best of all time. Actually, you just hear people say it time and time again. And I know with the very little that I pay attention to soccer that Messi's one of the names that I know. So that has to mean something.
Yeah. I don't know outside of Pele and Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't know if I could do another one. I really don't.
Yeah,
Maradona.
I remember David Beckham being really good.
Yeah, Beckham. Okay, but was that manufactured or was he really that good?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. All right, we'll get to the final results of the poll question when we come back. And if you play in a fantasy football league, what is the punishment for the loser of that? There's a creative one out there. that I wanted to share with you when we come back here on X's and Bros, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
In the Den with Dan Dickerson.
It's a new day to celebrate and be free. And it's a new day full of action and excitement because it's a day for winning. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, your getaway reimagined. Let's take a look at where the Tigers are at the break. And on Friday, we'll talk about what to look for after the break. The first half was streaky, to say the least. 18-17 through 35 games, and then incredibly, the Tigers lost 21 of their next 25. The calendar flipped to June, and all was well, sort of. The Tigers got healthy, they pitched well, they bombed the ball, and they got on a roll, sort of. The Tigers outscored their opponents by 46 runs in June, but went just 14-11 because the bullpen kept giving up big home runs late. The Tigers turned that around heading to the break. They are now 22-14 in their last 36, averaging over 5 runs a game while giving up under 3.5 runs a game. This is the team the Tigers thought they had going into the season. They do look primed for a big second half.
Make ways for a great cause at Stand Up for the Cure Lakeshore paddleboarding event at Ross Park in Norton Shores on Saturday, July 25th. You can grab your paddleboard and your sunscreen to raise critical funds for breast cancer research and awareness programs. Register for Stand Up for the Cure at suftc.org.
one thing that other sports can't do that baseball does is nostalgia. Sure, we can talk about Dick Butkus and how great he was. I can talk about George Gervin's finger roll, and I can talk about how Guy Lafleur was flying up the right wing all we want. But what last night's All-Star game did to me was goosebump stuff. Kids. Fox's production was phenomenal.
It really was.
When those kids jump on a bike with gloves on handlebars and ride out, you may think it's staged. That's fine. When you stand there in the outfield and you watch the fireworks and you listen to Ray Charles sing America the Beautiful, don't tell me you didn't have at least a little bit of emotion. And if you didn't, you probably don't have a pulse. It's unreal how you see Mike Trout talking with a kid about a swing, or Bryce Harper standing with a kid and talking to him, and Brandon Marsh watching while a camera angle gets all these guys with sparklers in their hand and they become kids again, and the way it started with kids knocking on other kids' doors and then them running down the steps, jumping on a bike, and a mom yelling out the window, be home right after the fireworks. That was nostalgia from the 70s, 60s. That's what kids did. They don't do it any longer, at least not in masses. We have other things to take the place, unfortunately. I love technology. Where would you and I be without our cell phone? Where would we be without the internet? We wouldn't be talking to you right now without the internet. It's one of the greatest inventions of all time, which is a good debate for another day, But, there are a lot of really good inventions that aren't with, the internet and with technology. Whoever invented soap was pretty smart.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't argue with that.
What the maker of toothpaste was pretty important, all right, to keep certain things, functioning. But last night, when you see that, you're like, wow, this is why I love baseball. Not that you have to be a fan of baseball as your number one sport. It can be football. It can be anything you want it to be. It can be soccer, for crying out loud. How else do you reach people emotionally without that? Sure, the big American flag at a football stadium and guys honoring the military is really cool too. Nostalgia is, for me anyway, in this case, you're bringing kids into it. You're bringing a fan base into it. Every person in that stadium, every person watching felt like they were there. That's the key to really good television.
Yeah, that made you look at the TV no matter what. Like, even if you were coming back from grabbing something or whatever, you were like, "Whoa, what's going on in there?" With the whole scene that was going on.
Andy, my wife,
fireworks and sparklers were awesome.
They really were. My wife, I don't think, watched one pitch of the All-Star game, even though I was watching it. She was sitting in her chair. She plays Scrabble on her phone. I don't know why. But anyway, she did look up during that, and she said, that kid riding the bike who had the Phillies uniform open and a sweatband and the head turned backwards, and he was riding down the middle of the field. She goes, that's what baseball means to so many kids. That's what it used to mean. I don't know if it does any longer. I hope it does. I went to the driving range the other day with my daughter. There were two guys who had just come back from a baseball game because they still had their baseball uniforms on and they were all dirty. I don't think they rubbed dirt on it just for the sake of rubbing dirt on it. They just came from a baseball game and they went to the driving range and they were swinging golf clubs. And I thought to myself, strange. It's not the swing you want during
mixing those
season,
two
whatever.
swings is really tough. Ask anybody.
Not a good look, right? But I thought to myself, those guys have two loves. They love baseball and they love golf. Good for them. It was fun to see kids in a uniform. And it was really fun to see kids riding a bike. You almost forget the kids know how to ride bikes these days because there's automatic bikes. There's electrical bikes. I just loved that whole feeling that the All-Star game gave me last night. You don't get that very often. So kudos to Major League Baseball. Kudos to the city of Philadelphia and and to the organization, the Philadelphia Phillies, and all the players who pulled that off, and the kids who were perfect in the role that they played. It was heartwarming for me. It really was cool. Let me get to the final results of the poll question. The poll question we asked you yesterday: did you enjoy the home run derby? Yes, I like it the way it is. Yes, but they need to shorten it. No, it gets old fast. No, I'd rather see other skill competitions. What were the masses thinking?
People did like the setup at 44%. So that did win the vote. Yes, but shorten it was 19%. I would have been in that category probably. I liked it overall, but I'm glad I didn't necessarily watch the whole thing. And then no, because no, it gets old fast. That was 33% of the vote, which I get too. And no other skill competitions was 4% of the vote, which surprises me in a way. But I think you'd like to see other stuff too. But
so would I. Well, we've got another poll question out there for you. The Mitchell Lands Wealth poll question today: which All-Star game is the best? MLB's, NHL, NBA, or other? There's a reason we put other. We didn't put the NFL. Pro Bowl's an absolute farce. I was kind of hoping to save this till tomorrow, but ESPN came out with their top wide receivers. So let me get to that real quick, and then I want to do
the last play is fantasy punishment.
Your fantasy league punishment. Yeah, it's a really cool thing, but these guys did. I love the creativity, first and foremost. But anyway, so we were just talking about this. Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receivers. Where do you think Amon-Ra St. Brown ranks? Give me your top 5 wide receivers. Go.
Oh, I would say that I'm going to guess he ranks at number 5.
He does rank at 5. Jamar Chase is number 1.
I don't think you can argue that. I'm going to
guess. Highest ranking 1, lowest ranking 3. Last year he was 1.
I bet Justin Jefferson is probably in there too. I'm going to guess
number 2.
Okay.
Highest ranking 1, lowest ranking 5.
I'm going to guess Jackson Smith and Jigba is in there.
He's number 3. Highest ranking 1, lowest ranking 7.
And then I'll go Puka Nacua.
Puka Nacua, highest ranking 3. Somebody unranked him.
That doesn't make any sense, but
it makes no sense whatsoever. Amon-Ra St. Brown, highest ranking 2, lowest ranking unranked. I can't let it frustrate me too much. It's silly to get frustrated about it. I want to know from the people, and it's anonymous, but I'd love to know, what does it take to impress you? 1,000 yards, not in back-to-back seasons, but in back-to-back seasons. In 2 consecutive years, he led the league in first downs. He's had 145 rocks or more in 3 of the last 4 years. A 90-catch season is pretty damn good. And he's had 141 in 4 or more in 4 straight seasons. Okay? I'm sorry, those are targets. I apologize. My apologies. He's had 105 or more in 4 straight seasons. He doesn't drop the football. I'm not telling you you should have him at number 1 or even 2 or even 3, but to have him unranked is pure stupidity.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. The consistency he's had year in and year out doesn't make any sense.
Okay, number 6 is CeeDee Lamb. Highest ranking 3, lowest ranking unranked. Number 7 is George Pickens. Highest ranking 5, lowest ranking unranked.
I have 2 of those guys. Impressive.
Yeah.
Right there.
Nico Collins highest is number 8. Highest ranking 3, lowest ranking unranked. 9 is A.J. Brown. Highest ranking 6, lowest ranking unranked. And number 10, Devontae Adams. Highest ranking 6, lowest ranking unranked. You literally have 6 of the top 10 wide receivers on this list. The lowest ranking they had was unranked. I'm trying to think of who you put in their place. Here's the other thing we should focus on. Excuse me. Like Malik Neighbors, I think he's a really good. He was hurt last year. Can you put him above any of those guys? Mike Evans, excellent receiver in his career, probably going in the Hall of Fame. But a guy who was hurt last year, can you put him above? You're not putting Zay Flowers above any of those guys. You're not putting Tyreek Hill above any of those guys. Maybe Drake.
Tyreek might have been like a couple of years ago, but now,
we're talking right now. Are you trying to tell me that you're going to put Alec Pierce in there just because he signed a 4-year, $114 million contract? No.
No, it's more on them.
one of the honorable mentions, it's worth noting, was Jamison Williams. He can fly and is slippery. His speed opens up intermediate cuts. Getting in and out of breaks is not natural to him, but he's improved there. He goes across the field, uses all 53 yards. Hands aren't as consistent, that according to one NFL coordinator.
Now, maybe it was a little bit of, I mean, obviously Jalen Hurts isn't my favorite passing quarterback necessarily, but I mean, who would you have taken last year? A.J. Brown or Jameson Williams? A.J. Brown was number 10, right? On that list? Just from if you just had to answer.
No, A.J. Brown was number 9. I'm sorry. Devontae Adams was 10.
Okay.
That's a tough question. Here's the reason it's a tough question for me. They are different wide receivers. A.J. Brown is a big wide receiver, right? Consider that. I mean, he's 6'2", 225 pounds. So he's a different type of receiver. I like what Jamison Williams brings. I don't like the drama with A.J. Brown.
Right.
So I would say Jamison Williams, but I try to be as fair and unbiased as possible in this situation. Okay. So I needed to make that point made. I think it's great that Jamison Williams is at least in the honorable mention, and people are viewing him similar to the way people here in Detroit view him. All right, let me move on. If you win your fantasy football league, in most leagues, it's a cash payout, it's bragging rights, whatever. And there's cute little things that guys have to do if you end up losing. You got to wear my jersey, okay, my alma mater. I got some of my best friends went to Western Michigan, and I'm a Central Michigan Chippewa, so making them wear something CMU might bother them an awful lot. I saw this online the other day, and it was one of the more creative ones. The guy who lost his fantasy football league had to caddy for the guy who won his fantasy football league. So they made up a Masters-like caddy outfit for him. He had to wear a green hat. He had the name of the winner on his back.
That's brutal already.
He had to carry his bag. He had to carry his bag the entire 18 holes.
Were they all in carts too, or did they walk? So they all walked. Okay. That would have been really funny if they were all in carts and made them walk.
I just absolutely love it. I think it's phenomenal. And then, of course, you've got everything stuffed in the bag. He wants a water bottle, you got to give it to him. He wants an energy bar, you got to give it to him. I think it's one of the more creative, without being too humiliating. It's not like you're making him wear a thong at a public pool, right?
No.
Do you and your friends do anything like that?
Yeah. So
you have
one of my leagues,
I
give my commissioner a lot of credit in this league, because he does really, really try to make it like fun and try to think of different stuff. He came up with the one this year that we're still waiting on our last place person to do. So if you're listening right now, you still have to do that, by the way. This is a keeper league, so he actually kind of tanked in a way to trade a lot of his picks to get better picks for this year, but still has to do this punishment. That's the one part that sucks about doing that. He has to go to a bowling alley. I can't remember for how many hours it is. I want to say it's like 12 hours maybe. And instead of because the typical thing when you make somebody go to a bar or something is you got to take shots or drink beer or whatever to get time off of it. I don't think they ever decided if that was going to be a part of it, but he has to shoot a 180 or better to get an hour off. Which I don't know if you've ever bowled. For the average bowler that doesn't bowl, 180 is a lot harder than you think it is.
Oh my God, I think it's really hard. I rarely bowl. I can bowl a 125, 130, something like that.
Yeah, I'd say I'm average around that too.
Yeah,
that's where I'd be at.
Something like that.
We go once a week in the winter a lot, just because something to do to get together and stuff like that.
I think that's cool.
So I've never gotten better at it. I probably should. If I put as much time into bowling as I did into my golf game, I probably would get a lot better at bowling and actually be decent at it. But yeah, the fact that he has to get those 180, I would probably end up being there for 10 of the hours. I feel because then you have to start thinking about how tired your arm gets. We play 3 games sometimes, because that's the deal at the bowling alley here in Grand Rapids that we go to called The Click. It offers is you get, I think it's $9 for 3 games and shoes or something like that. But by the third game, we're always kind of I really wish I wasn't even playing anymore. You know?
Absolutely.
And that's so think about that. But you're trying to get time off, and you're trying to. Well, I can't wait to see the results. I think our commissioner is going to make him live stream it too. So for
I've
people
seen
that can't
something else where one of the punishments is you have to go to a 24-hour diner, and you have to stay there and eat the entire time.
Yep.
For every meal you finish, you can take an hour off. So if you eat an entree, you eat a waffle, that takes off 1 hour. You eat, I don't know what Waffle House serves. You eat, biscuits and gravy. There's another hour off. You're going to be there for a long time.
Yeah, people do the Waffle House one a lot. Obviously, here in Michigan, we don't really have those. People like make it because that's 24 hours.
Right, that's down south.
Yeah, can you imagine having to eat that many waffles?
So I saw this one doing some research. Somebody does a blow-up doll dinner date. You have to take a blow-up doll into a restaurant and sit with it. Another one was standing up at a microphone. You got to do a stand up on an open night microphone, and try to make people laugh.
Good God.
That's a really tough one. If you want humiliation, you have to put together a calendar. Maybe I'm giving your commissioner some ideas. A calendar photo shoot.
That'd be something, man.
So if Andy loses, Andy
I don't
would
like
have
this.
to put together 12 pictures of himself, put it out on a calendar, and give it to everybody in his league.
So I sold out in this league to try to win last year, and my team ended up completely tanking and not doing what it was supposed to do, and I didn't win. So now I'm in jeopardy of finishing last this year. So we may have to skip the rest of this topic so that way you don't give him any more ideas. Because
this could be a fun one. You ready?
I don't know if I am.
Enter a U.S. Open qualifier. You talk about embarrassment, that might be it. Like, there's a lot of things you can do. You could do an ice plunge, and that's short-lived. You
want something that lasts a second. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you want like the fantasy football, the amount of effort you put into it and how long a football season is. Like, you finish last place, like there's got to be something going for that. You know what I mean?
You could make somebody not just wear something, but every round of golf, or you have to purchase something new. And so your phone case, for example, might be pink if you're a guy, and that's a problem. Or a Hello Kitty backpack that you have to take to work instead of your bookcase or instead of your briefcase, something along those lines. Anyway, or attend, this is a good one, attend a kid's pop concert, some concert you can't stand. I don't know who that would be.
That would be ridiculous.
Something along those. I mean, you can get pretty damn creative when it comes to this stuff.
I think having to do like some kind of open mic thing or something would be so funny if you had to like compliment the person who won it too and stuff like that. Just to really drive at somebody.
I got one more for you. Obviously picking up the tab is one. Get a custom license plate.
Yeah, see, that's nuts.
that would be, that's long lasting. And how long are you going to have that for? You're going to have it for a long time. All right. I want to thank you for taking some time and joining us on a Wednesday morning. This hour has been brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Don't forget the huge show later on today from 3 until 7. We're back with you tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock here on X's and Bros across the great state of Michigan. Have a great Wednesday, everybody.
We're fortunate here in Michigan. We have some of the greatest golf courses in the country. Tullymore and St. Ives is